Hello, loves. It's your girl, Reese Reviews. Welcome home, where today we'll be reviewing Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 8, Episode 11, Nell-Raiser. So, let's just get right on into the video. In the first scene, we are back at Nell and Chris's house, where we see Chris Jr. stating that he feels that Nell needs to go to therapy on her own for a one-on-one. And Nella's like, I ain't doing that. The kids try to then explain to her and let her know that they can see that she's very emotional by the situation that she's going through. And they feel like if she gets the individual therapy that she needs, then a lot of things will, go into place for her and be better for her. And she's just totally against it. She feels like the kids are who needs the therapy. She just needs to be financially free and not be burdened by their issues. And Nell is very, very reluctant. And so they try to change therapy to the word counseling, which practically is the same thing. But she reluctantly looks like she's going to be going to that because it's clear that she needs it. From the episodes that we've been seeing with Nell, she definitely needs to speak with someone. And I just feel like she's afraid to because she feels like she has it all together and the issues are with everyone else. But then again, if everyone else is saying that you're the issue, you're the common denominator. So we'll see if she goes for real, for real. In this next scene, we see Marsau and he's at Black, and in comes a new character. We are introduced to Marquez. Now, the funny thing is that when he's actually sitting down in the initial stage of the conversation, you see his name Marquez flash on the screen and it says Marsau's friend. Marsau says that Marquez used to work with him at the movie theater, and that was some time ago. But what he didn't know was that Marquez is Tricia's husband. So Marquez says that him and Ken got into it at Black, and he was going over the fact that he didn't really care for Ken being around his children. If you didn't know, Ken and Trish have, look at me saying Ken and Trish, messy. Marquez and Trish have two children. They have a boy and a girl. The girl is 10 years old, and I believe that the boy is either 17 or 18. I could be wrong, but you guys could correct me in the comments if I am. He goes on to say that he did not leave the kids. He left Trish in the situation because he was tired of Ken being around his kids. And he states that he stayed in Huntsville, actually stayed in the home with Trish for a while. He stayed in Huntsville, but at the end of the day, he ended up leaving because the situation was just too much for him to handle with another man interfering with his children. Marsau is the bearer of wisdom in this situation because Marquez is, like Marsau said, delusional. You left your family. You state, Marquez, that you were not there for Trish when her parents died because you ain't have nobody in your family die. Like, what? You didn't show your wife, whom you got with at 18, who you married at 18. You couldn't show her empathy because you ain't never been through it before, so you didn't know how to show empathy. And the relationship went downhill. And so she decides to then move on, and you're upset because she's moving on. Well, you didn't want her, so what other choice would she have, right? Okay. But then you say that she was talking to Ken for a long time and sending emojis and stuff through the DM. Is that something that I could believe? Yeah. I mean, if your wife is telling you that she loves chocolate and you're a light skinned man, you're not her type. For her to say that she likes chocolate and you're nowhere near chocolate is Diabolical. But anyways, you can't really be mad at Ken for taking up the responsibility that you decided to leave. Once you leave the household, you have officially left. I mean, it's either you stay or you go. And if you go, that means you left. You can't say you didn't leave your kids. You did leave your kids. You left your kids and you left the household. Once you leave the household, you have officially left your kids. Once you move somewhere else, you officially no longer cohabitate with your children, which means you left. I feel like, just like Marsau said, you're not giving your daughter enough credit. If your daughter says that men don't leave, why would she be necessarily getting that from her mom? Could her mom be saying it? Yes, but she could also feel it. She's old enough to have feelings. She's old enough to articulate herself. So, and then for him to even say he doesn't want Ken to parent his daughter when she has a bad day, she wants, when his daughter's having a bad day, he wants Ken to say, go talk to your dad. Like, what? So you want her to be ill treated in her household because the man is not you. That is crazy. Yeah, I'm not liking this energy with Marquez. It's giving very entitled to me. You want to rule things and you want to dictate how things should be after you left. Yeah, that's a no-go. Um, yeah, and then for you to say those things in response to your daughter's heartstrings and how she would be cared for and how a man should take care of her is crazy to me. If there's a man that's in your household and they're not treating your child right, that's disgusting. You should never want that. You should never want your child to be ill treated. If you didn't want Ken to be raising your children, you should have stayed in the household. I completely agree with Marsau. When you leave, you left your kids. That is it. That is all. I also love the fact that Marcel told him that he should be thanking Ken for, taking up the responsibility. And he should be thanking Ken for taking up the responsibility. Because at the end of the day, this man is taking care of the bills in your household, giving your kids cars, taking your kids on trips and vacations, and you are not doing that. Sir, he is picking up your slack. And he doesn't have to because he doesn't have to be with Trish or stay with Trish. He's choosing to. But in so choosing to, he has made a decision to treat your kids as his own. So, yes, I completely agree with Marcel in this situation. Anyway, this is annoying. Let's move on to the next scene. All right, so now we're at the next scene, and to be honest with you, it's really cute to see Mel because in the season, we haven't really seen Mel, in my opinion, as much as we've seen everybody else. But I mean, even though it's cute to see her, this scene was really pointless. She sits down. Um, I'm guessing this is her backyard, but she sits down, has a little cute little setup for her and Nell. And basically, Nell tells her she's frustrated. She wanted her kids to get counseling, and her kids turned it around on her, even her husband. And they all think she needs counseling. And low key, Mel thinks that they are right and that Nell needs counseling. And she's like, take one for the team. You'll have this and you'll have that, and you'll be able to say this and that. I mean, pretty much Nell is airing her grievances about counseling, and Mel thinks she needs to go. And that's just the end of that scene. All right, so moving on to the next one. In this scene, we are back into the home of Nell and Chris Fletcher. They are getting ready for Dr. Francis to come in. The kids are already in the house, the adult kids, and it's time for their session to begin. Nell obviously does not think that she needs the therapy, and the therapist wants to know why he is there. As the kids start talking, she basically cuts them off and starts yelling about knowing that she's right the whole time. So when they try to talk to her, she don't gotta hear the whole thing because she already told them so. And her son, the oldest son, Lance, was trying to explain to her that whenever we go to dad, he lets us finish our thoughts and our statements and finish talking before he answers. So he listens to understand, whereas with Nell, she listens only to respond. It got so heated to the point where she really said, "Oh, I heard everything you guys said. I heard everything you said. I heard everything you said. But I told you so. And if I already told you so, okay, so that's what I see. You want to go to your dad, because you don't want to hear me telling you that I told you so." And there's a disconnect. She's just so stuck in her ways that she's not understanding that she goes from 0 to 100. So because she goes from 0 to 100, speaking with her may not always be the best bet or in the best interest of the kids who want to actually be heard and understood. So the therapist asked her if she can go to each child and basically say something good about them and positive about them, which she went around the room. She said what she said to each child. And at the end, people were all crying and they just want to get down to the bottom of, you know, not being talked down to by her. And hopefully Nell, keeps it up. It seems like she's really a tough cookie to crack. But just like the therapist said, she's being hard on the exterior because she's very sensitive and soft on the inside. So that was basically it for this scene. Let's just move on to the next. In this final scene, we see Trish. Trish is outside, sitting in a gazebo, and she's waiting on her guest to arrive. Her guest is her husband, Marquez. She said that she invited Marquez because she wanted to talk to him. They haven't spoken in a while. They haven't seen each other in a while. And of course, she promised Ken that she would talk to Marquez in regards to divorce. Marquez comes in, and how old is Marquez? Because Marquez looks straight out of the 90s. He looks like he looks straight out of the 90s. Period. So he comes in and he immediately starts talking about what happened in their relationship, and that he's not cool or does not like the fact that Ken is in her life. He did not want anyone to be raising his children. He's apprehensive about it. He said Ken was very rude. He feels like Ken has been waiting in the wings for him to get out of the picture so that he could be with Trish. Trish is upset because she states that her and Ken did not start anything until well after, years after she was separated from Marquez. He's basically rebutting that with saying that Ken was in her DM sending chocolate emojis while he was still living with Trish. And when he tried to confront Ken about it and called Ken told him to talk to your B. Trish was like, he said that? And he's like, yeah. Then he goes on to say that, his daughter, Ken says something to the lines of, basically, I'm gonna be taking over your family, your daughter. And Trish says that he said that in anger. My thing is, if he said that in anger and he was sorry, he would apologize to Marquez in regards to saying that. He didn't apologize to Marquez. So as far as I'm concerned, if the disrespect was said to Marquez, then the apology should have been said to Marquez. Apology should not have been said to Trish because she's not the one who had that back and forth with him. And at the end of the day, he's still their father, whether he left them or not. He likes to say he didn't leave them, he left the situation. But then again, he had to then apologize because Trish was going through things with her sister, not wanting to get a heart transplant, both her parents dying 6 months apart from each other, and he was not there. And at that point, she needed her husband, and her husband was not there for her. He did admit that he was not there for her. So we don't have to go around and with the he said, she said. He admitted. So he wasn't there for her. He left the family. He gave up when he saw Ken. He saw Ken as a big, in my opinion, it feels like he sees Ken as like competition. And he felt like he could never win. So because he couldn't win the competition, he left. And he may have checked out of the relationship, but at the same time, the ultimate decision whether he was going to leave his family or not did fall upon him because he made the decision to leave. He then is like he's going to go ahead and go through with the divorce with her, and then he asks her if they could go splitsies on it. It's $400. That he want to split it. My God. Okay. Well, there you have it. That was this episode. Tell me if you guys liked it. What did you think about the episode? Is there somebody else maybe in the background that you think may be more appropriate for the show? Do you think that the cast members are the best cast members that they could have? What do you think? Let me know. That's a definitely interesting question, and I want to know the answers to that. So until next time, you guys. Bye.